What does it take to change a law that stood for over 800 years? The answer: one mother's relentless fight after her daughter's killer walked free. And that's exactly what goes down in I Fought the Law Season 1, Episode 4. Today, we're diving deep into the remarkable climax, emotional punches, and shocking twists that make this finale a masterclass in both drama and real-world stakes. Strap in and get ready to relive the episode that turns the tide for justice. We kick things off right in the thick of normality, and Ming's home, full of family bustle and child chatter. The tension, though, is ready to burst through the everyday noise. There's an uncomfortable knock at the door to 6 Marion, the neighbor, arriving not with a casserole, but a petition to oust Anne's husband. It's not just personal, it's laced with xenophobia and spite. The scene perfectly captures the social prejudices Anne's family faces, and Anne, tired of swallowing her pride, finally snaps back. But instead of splitting her family, it brings her and Charlie closer. Anne's grit is now front and center, and Charlie is more supportive than ever. But family drama and the petty cruelty of neighbors aren't the only thing Anne has to battle. The real war is against the law itself. Anne and Charlie meet with Home Secretary Jack Straw, demanding to know why the man who confessed to Julie's murder received only a perjury sentence and not justice for the actual crime. Straw is sympathetic but stonewalled. The double jeopardy law means retrials for acquitted people are basically impossible. Anne, however, is undeterred. Straw gives her the key advice she needs to get the Law Commission's attention. And Anne is ready to make as much noise as it takes. Home isn't much easier. Anne's son Kevin finds old news clippings about Julie, forcing Anne to finally confront the burden of truth with her grandson. The heartbreaking moment when Anne confesses that his mother was murdered and says she doesn't know why, drives home the cost of shielding loved ones from pain. Anne's tenacity is fueled by love and loss for Julie, but also for Kevin and the rest of her family. This openness strengthens their bond and sets Anne's determination ablaze. Running parallel to the personal battles, Anne's campaign gains momentum. She's on radio, TV documentaries, and finally a live televised debate facing Imran Khan, the lawyer for Stephen Lawrence's family. The debate is raw. Imran defends double jeopardy, arguing it protects individuals from endless prosecution, sloppy police work, and judicial overreach. But Anne cuts through the legal jargon. If Imran's own daughter was murdered and her killer confessed, would he be content with a perjury sentence? He falters, and Anne's logic seals the argument. The court of public opinion swings her way. The Law Commission watches and finally gets in touch. Anne has become impossible to ignore. But not everything is as smooth as Anne hopes. She discovers that her victim impact statement, meant to sway the judge during the killer's perjury sentencing, was never delivered. Bureaucratic incompetence has robbed Julie's family of a more severe punishment for her killer. When the killer appeals for a reduced sentence, Anne has to write another harrowing victim statement, reliving the trauma all over again. Even then, more bureaucratic hurdles await. Anne must personally deliver the statement to ensure it's received. The frustration, exhaustion, and drive to keep going is gut-wrenching, even costing her precious moments with family, like missing Gary's birthday. Finally, the appeal hearing arrives. Anne's impact statement makes all the difference. The judges, moved by her experience and words, decide not to reduce the killer's sentence. Relief washes over Anne and her family, but her campaign for justice marches on. Now comes the fight for actual change, a retrospective overturn of the double jeopardy law. That means not only future cases, but also historic cases like Julie's. Anne's willingness to do the unthinkable, addressing the lords themselves in Parliament, is the episode's emotional centerpiece. She opens her heart to some of the most powerful people in the country. Her speech is raw, direct, and loaded with pain, each 2 moments of trauma. The loss of Julie and seeing her killer walk free. In words both simple and devastating, she asks for justice. For Julie, for Kevin, and for all families wronged by the law. She argues the law must also work the other way, just as it frees the innocent. It must also convict the guilty, even if they've been acquitted before. Though it's unconventional, Anne's speech hits home with the lords. But there's a twist, as Anne faces the possibility of parliamentary resistance. Charlie reminds her how far she's come and urges her not to stop fighting. There's a beautiful moment between Anne and her son Gary, who tells her gently that she needs to find peace and acknowledges how much he misses Julie, too. It's a scene that gives weight to the emotional toll this crusade has exacted. The episode builds toward Anne's biggest birthday gift yet. On Gary's birthday, surrounded by family and friends, the celebration is interrupted by stunning news. The bill has gone through. The lords have not blocked the change. Double jeopardy is being overturned, and crucially, it's going to be retrospective. And is speechless, overcome by tears and awe. After 13 years, she's won. The law will finally allow Julie's killer to be retried for murder. The finale doesn't shy away from the aftermath. We see a reporter question Anne about the possibility that the judge will let the killer off with time served. Anne is resolute. Any freedom for her daughter's murderer would be, in her words, catastrophic. When sentencing comes, Anne's victim statement is read aloud, exposing the ongoing agony her family faces. This time, the law delivers justice. The killer is handed a life sentence with a minimum tariff of 17 years. Anne has accomplished what seemed impossible, a retrial and conviction for the man who murdered her daughter. As the credits roll, Anne reflects with humility, planning to do more line dancing, and her friends point out the magnitude of what she's achieved. She has overturned one of the bedrocks of Western legal tradition, sparking conversation around the globe about justice and victims' rights. Yet Anne remains modest, focusing instead on the hope the killer never gets out and the impact on her own family. The closing scene is tender and triumphant. Anne is surrounded by loved ones, finally allowed a moment of joy, even joining the country pop line dance. Her journey ends not just with legal victory, but renewed bonds with her family. The pain won't fade, but peace is within reach. In summary, Episode 4 of I Fought the Law is a breathtaking roller coaster of heartbreak, battle, and hope. Anne Ming's story is more than just legal drama. It's a lesson in persistence, the power of speaking out, and the difference one determined person can make. The episode balances the quiet pain of grief with the loud clang of justice finally served, and leaves us with the undeniable truth: laws can be changed, lives can be honored, and fighting for what's right is always worth it. If you've been moved by Anne's story or have thoughts to share, jump right into the comments below. Hit that like button, share this video with friends who love powerful true stories, and make sure to subscribe so you won't miss more recaps and deep dives just like this. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.